Holy shit, do I have a fast car to share with you guys today. Blew my mind the past few days driving this car. Incredible. Let's go talk about it. Is a 2022 Audi R8 V10. These things come from the factory with a naturally aspirated engine. Good customer of ours, Tracy. We've built him a GT500 in the past. This new ZL1 in the past. We built him multiple cars. You know, they've been more of a domestic cars. He finally got into some exotics and said, Steven, build me something crazy. And boy, did we do that. I think hopefully I surpassed his expectations. I know it sure as hell did mine, especially after test driving this thing and dialing it all out, which you'll see later in this video. But let me dive into the details of what we did to get the kind of horsepower that we got. This is a fully built Audi R8 minus a stock engine and stock CV axles. So again, this thing came as a V10 naturally aspirated. Normally the air filters and air box sits here. We got rid of all the air system, air box and filters, and installed a twin turbo system. So these are precision 64, 66 millimeter turbos. They're not huge compared to some of the other people that build V10 motors. But they spool really quick and make the horsepower that we needed for the stock engine. Obviously, when we do our twin turbo kits, we want them to be as efficient as possible. So instead of like an air-to-air intercooler system, we did a complete air-to-water, which you can see here. There's an intercooler core here for this bank and an intercooler core for this bank. And in a minute, I'll walk out to the front to show you where we have the ice tank. But staying under the hood, move on from the turbo system to fuel system. We went ahead and did a big pump inside the tank with a big controller on it that's good for 2,000 horsepower on E85. So this car can run on 93 octane or E85, and we have different maps for the customer to pick from X horsepower to Y. And the biggest thing about this car is these things come from the factory, an ECU on each side that runs this cylinder and that cylinder they call it bank to bank, right? So we got rid of the factory system and we installed a complete Motec. So this car runs and drives on a complete Motec system, which is a new engine management system to help us control obviously ignition, spark, and fuel, as well as help when it comes to the transmission and clutch to make the kind of horsepower numbers this thing makes. So again, our goal was to maximize what we could with a stock engine. This turbo kit and what we did, we pushed it pretty far. When it comes to drivetrain components, these things have a dual clutch transmission in them. They're 7-speed automatics. We went ahead and did a fully built transmission from Shep Trans with Datsun billet gear sets and also a Datsun clutch. So the transmission in this thing is good for 2,000 horsepower. The fuel system in it's good for 2,000 horsepower. The turbo kit with these turbos, I'd say 16 to 1800 ish. After that, we got to start going with a little bit larger turbo. But the stock engine on these things can only handle so much. Some people will push them high to make just a crazy dyno number, but again, I'm all about building these things reliably. I want high horsepower, but reliably. I want the customer to be able to take this thing, drive it every day if he wants, and race it as much as he wants without having any issues. So again, complete turbo kit, fuel system's been upgraded. We did do the ice tank in the front, which I guess I can show you now. Obviously bigger injectors. These things are kind of like the GM and the new Fords. They're direct injected as well as port injection on. So they have two sets of injectors. The car idles and drives around on both. But what we do is we keep the stock mechanical fuel pumps in it, the factory mechanical fuel, injectors, and we just change out the port injectors in it to be able to supply E85 worth of 2,000 horsepower. And as you can see, we kind of did our own custom piece here to make this thing look like factory. So we built this piece here, and then underneath it is our sexy ice tank. As you can see, right now we just have water and water wetter in it right now. You can put coolant in it and so forth depending on where you live. We kept water in it in water wetter because, again, this customer probably is going to put ice in it when he goes to an event. And again, we have the valve here, and if you look underneath the car, see it right here? All you do is you go to the track or the event wherever you're at, or you can just put it on the ground, but just put a little pan underneath it here, hit the button, just flip it, see it come out a little bit. And so we'll drain it. You don't want to drain it all the way where it'll cavitate. So I tell my customers to drain it where it's about a quarter left, and then pack it full of ice, and then circulate it, and that'll keep the intake air temps down. But again, guys, the way the system is right now, even with water in it, with the boost levels that we're making with the stock motor, intake air temps are not a problem. It'll just make even more horsepower with the colder I-ATs. But again, for big boost, high horsepower, or like racing events, that's when you will use that tank to be able to drain the water and put ice in it. So again, these cars are, it's a car. People think, oh man, the new Lamborghinis, the new Audis, the new McLarens, the new Ferraris, they're like some crazy voodoo witchcraft stuff to do these cars. Yes, they are way more complicated than some of the GM cars, some of the Ford cars, but once you do it, once you know what you're doing, these cars are very good to build. The platform of this thing is incredible. To take a stock engine and push it as far as we did, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I stopped at 1,400 rear wheel horsepower on E85. That sounds so sick. I love it. Testing the shift points in manual mode. That sounds so gangster, dude. Golly, that's sick. That's on a lower map setting. That's not that much boost. Customer is going to want to roll race a lot from 50-mile-an-hour roll. We setting up, it's called anti-lag or rolling anti-lag. So you can be in gear, put it manual mode, drop into whatever gear he wants. You can hold a button and floor it, and it's going to go to, I'm going to say X amount of boost. And then whenever he lets go of that button, the car's going to take off. So he can be at any mile, it needs to be over a certain RPM, this is the way we have it set. But he can be at any speed and any gear, and he hits that button from a roll, and it will build boost right away. And then, like I said, when it's time to race, or 1, 2, 3, he just lets go of that button, and his foot's already to the floor, it's already making boost. So there's no boost lag or anything like that, so someone can't get a big jump on him. But I'm testing the boost level out, and that's what you just heard right there, is the rolling anti-lag, which I got it set up, everything seems good now. We'll test it and play with it more on the street. I stopped at 1400 rear wheel horsepower on E85. Now I could have made more. The turbo kit was still good. The back pressures of turbos were good. I just stopped at 1400 because in my opinion, I think that engine will live at that horsepower level for a while. So we kept it there, and also with the Motec system on it, I'll show you here in a second, we have different map settings for the customer. So whether he's on pump gas or E85, he can hit some buttons and go from 700 horsepower to 800 to 1000 to 1200 to 1400 plus, all from just hitting a button. It's incredible. User friendly for the customer. It makes it very simple. The customer can put pump gas in the car, go drive it and race it, put E85 in it, go drive it and race it, or even a mix of the two. It's got a flex fuel sensor on it, so the Motec, the computer actually senses the ethanol content and corrects automatically. So whether he's running 20% ethanol or 85 or 90% ethanol, the computer does it himself. The customer just has to put his foot to the floor and hold on. So let me show you a little bit more. All right, so let me turn the steering wheel so y'all can see. So it is on E85 right now. So all the factory buttons are still in place, and you have to go through the Motec to figure out which button you want to press for each thing we want to do. So for instance, if we want to see how much ethanol is in this car right now, we take this, push it, we're about 74, 75% ethanol. Y'all see how the tach goes up? Look, we're at idle, I push it, now we know we're at about 75% ethanol. That way the customer knows if he's been going back and forth from pump gas to E85, how much his ethanol content is. And that's the ethanol composition, right? Now if you want to change your boost settings, so let's say he wants his different maps. I'm gonna hold this button down, this comes on the screen, and right here that's map 1, map 2, map 3, map 4, map 5. So that is good amount of boost. But I'm not gonna lie, this thing, even on the lower settings, on stuff like this, is absolutely insane the amount of horsepower it makes. There is one more feature in it. I'm gonna tell the customer about it. I just don't want him to mess with it. We also wired in a complete two-wheel drive conversion. So the Motec, these things come all-wheel drive. So for dyno purposes, or for later, this customer does plan to use the car. This isn't a customer that's just gonna build this car and park in the garage. So we have to make this car race and again be reliable and be able to be user-friendly for the customer. So we have to set it up that way. So we wired up for two-wheel drive because in the future he does want to drag race it. You'll be able to do the same thing with the maps. You just hit a different button and it will go to two-wheel drive all the time, as well as turn off traction control, and then you flip it back to all-wheel drive. We did that. We also wired in through the Motec, it's called auto upshift. So this customer likes to roll race a lot. You'll see if y'all watched my videos in the past, a lot of the GMs and the Fords we do. For roll racing, you'll be driving on the highway and this car, let's say 7th gear, car pulls up next to you, you'll flip it over into manual mode. This car, you put it in performance mode, put it in the gear you want. Let's say I'm gonna put it in 3rd gear. I'm gonna go to like 4,000 RPMs. Two things I can do. I can just go to that, floor it, it's gonna shift all by itself. Car's gonna haul ass. Second thing, if it's a serious car that he's gonna race and it's another car making roughly around the same horsepower and he needs to make sure he gets the right jump on it, we have an anti-lag button. You can put it in the gear that you want, go to whatever speed or RPM you want. You can hold this button down and let's say 50 miles an hour and floor it. It's gonna go to the boost level that I have set and just sit there. You're gonna hear it pop and bang, which I'm sure you'll see videos of it later doing that here. And then pop bang, pop bang. Sounds kind of funny right there, right? But it does sound badass. And then once you let go of the button, it takes off and goes. So instead of just rolling into it in vacuum and having it to build boost, you can literally, if you ever watch people roll racing, they count them down, or at an event you have to hit it from a certain spot and a certain mile per hour. You can have this set where you hold the button, floor it, it's gonna go to, I'm just gonna say 7 pounds of boost. So when it's time to go, you are already at 7 pounds of boost, and then it's gonna go through my ramp rate of my boost controller to the final setting.
Yeah.
Incredible setup. Again, very easy for the customer to use. But for the most part, just changing the maps depending on what fuel he has and really how fast he wants to go. Because this thing ranges from, like I said, I think the lowest setting is 700 something rear wheel horsepower, which on this car is still very fast. And then 1400, insane on street tires. So
holy shit, okay. Holy mother.
much more than that. Oh my god, that felt so good. Woo! Oh yeah, she's rolling, son. Oh my god, it's so smooth. And that's with no anti-lag. That's just rolling into it in third gear, letting it auto upshift, all the tuning done, where all the customer has to do is put it in the gear and floor it. That is absolutely perfect right there. He can now just pick his boost setting and go. I actually spent quite a bit of time tuning this car. The Motec is a lot more of an intense ECM management system. It's not something I do every single day, so it does take a little bit longer to learn the software and what to do and how to do it. And I have a lot of people that I know that use Motec systems that, again, I appreciate them answering my questions when I do reach out to them. Jason, if you're out there, I appreciate your help on the questions when I asked you to help get this thing running the way it does. It just takes a while. So last night even, I was doing the final boost settings, I'm gonna call it, for my maps, and this thing on the highest setting on street tires with the stock engine, the 60 to 130 times and the 100 to 150 times are incredible for a stock engine and street tires. So I hope you enjoy this, guys. Those of you out there that do have a Audi R8 or a Lamborghini, any of the V10 stuff that are naturally aspirated, and thinking about doing a package to your car, even if it's just an exhaust system and a tune, give us a call, guys. We can get you taken care of. Or if you want something as crazy as this 1400 all-wheel drive twin turbo setup or more, we can. Because I can tell you right now, Tracy is the kind of guy, he's going to use this thing, he's going to go out and race people and enjoy it, go to half-mile events, have fun. I have a feeling within 6 months, he's going to say, let's build the engine and make even more horsepower. So this thing, I have a feeling 2,000 rear wheel horsepower will be coming soon, but for right now, he's got to get used to this first, because it's a handful.
Fast as hell, like for real. It's crazy. It's fast as hell. It's fast as hell.
We did map 3 first.
We heard it.
And then I put it on map 5.
Yes. Map 5 was just like literally rolling into it.
But
it's
no
like,
anti-lag. I
yeah,
just said
you're
watch.
You're
that way you can kind of get.
And it don't let off until you let off the gas. Like you're stuck to the back. Like literally. You're stuck.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Give it a like if you liked it so far. And please turn on bell notifications for future content, as we have cool stuff in the pipeline that you're going to want to see. And as always, please comment below.